Hello and welcome to our podcast, Cozy Conversations with the Sister Project. I'm Lauren. And I'm Michelle. And we're so excited you stopped by for a visit. Come on in. Yeah, make yourself at home. We're two Midwestern sisters who love a good old-fashioned conversation and enjoy sharing our life experiences with one another and you. Consider this your one-stop shop for cozy, mindful well-being, along with some entertainment and lots of wheezy laughing. Oh, you bet there'll be a lot of that going around. Our goal is to live our coziest life and inspire you to do the same because the truth is, we think it's good for your mind and your body. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now, let's get cozy. Well, hello there and welcome to Cozy Conversations with the Sister Project. I'm your host, Lauren, being joined by my co-host and sister, Michelle Anderson. Welcome.
Barely made it. Thank God I had another computer.
Michelle has had, and it's not, I checked, we're not in retrograde right now. So you're just having some bad luck.
Cool.
Michelle's having some bad technical luck. She had a real bummer of a conversation with a gentleman who studies AI this morning. Michelle, are you still feeling bleak about the...
I mean, I'm not feeling great about it. You know, it's not every day that after you hit the pickleball back and forth, you lose and then you go and sit and have... It was one of my less cozy conversations. I asked the gentleman next to me, who I've only played with a couple times. I said, so what's your story? That's how I genuinely start my conversations with people. Tell me about yourself.
Open-ended. I love it.
And he was like, you know, I stopped going to college last year and decided I'm kind of figuring it out. And in the meantime, I am kind of really diving into the topic of AI. He had a background in computer science. And I was like, okay. And then that was when I made the fatal mistake of asking him what his thoughts are on the future of humanity as it relates to AI. And his response was, I'm a positive person. I'm trying to think positive, but it's not good. And it's getting bad fast. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was kind of using these words that they were like, kind of like, I don't use, you know, he said something about
jargon.
Industry and I was like, I don't understand. I said, is AI going to be the end of civilization
of times?
And he was like, you know, I'm hoping not, but if it is, yes, I think that it could be. And I said, and what would that look like, sir? Because now I need to understand. And he was like, well, there's a lot of things. You got to be worried about hacking. When AI gets stronger than the, you know, human form, we're talking hacking nukes. We're talking starting wars between countries that they didn't start. You know, you're talking about taking down planes, and you're talking about
Michelle,
creating viruses that could destroy. I came home and I sucked my thumb.
I would too if I were you. My morning was so opposite of yours. I woke up, I'm still a little sick, but I'm feeling better today.
You
and
sound
I woke
1,000 times better.
Coughed up something real. What did I call it yesterday? Mucus
plug?
No,
thank you for that.
Then this morning, and then I was up like an hour and a half before everyone else. So I baked bread, I read, I went outside and got vitamin D. I wasn't thinking about end of times via AI. But you know what? Listen, we talked about this at Zanies. We talked about how there is this fear of basically what the fear is. And this is from Steve Hawking. He shared before his passing that his worry was that once AI, supersedes AGI, which is called artificial general intelligence, that they become superhuman, super smart human, and beyond human smart. And their morals and values might shift from the moral compass of, say, human. So not cozy at all.
No. And I have to say, I looked him up a little bit ago on ChatGPT, of course. And I wanted to just get a little...
Stephen Hawking?
Yeah. And I just wanted to kind of understand more about him and his perception or his opinion on AI. And, you know, he was like kind of cautiously optimistic about it. Like he did see the good in it. It would really help some things.
There's value.
The fear is what you're suggesting.
Of course.
And it's that it gets too powerful, too smart, too intelligent,
too
and
quick.
Then we're all goners. And to the gentleman's point that I was talking to today, it doesn't seem like, well, what he was saying aligned with Stephen Hawkins was it doesn't seem like there's any parameters around controlling it.
There isn't. But this is why the conversation that we had so our guest today, you guys, today we sat down with our guest, Lisa Guillot, who is a life coach and she is a bright light. She's also an author. She's a branding expert. She is the writer of the book, Find Your Clear Vision. It's available on Amazon, and I highly recommend you pick up a copy and read it. But what we chatted about for the first portion of the conversation was chatting with her about how human connection is so important and far surpasses and superior than these connections that we are now finding ourselves making with AI robots.
Yep.
And I feel like, yes, maybe like on the grand scheme of things, there aren't any perimeters, but for us as humans,
or parameters,
humans, or parameters,
parameters, it's
whatever.
fine.
It doesn't matter. You know what I'm talking about? Guidelines, guides, like, hey, stop, do not enter, don't pass go. But what we chatted about with her today was that like we as humans, we have the ability to define what we find to be like, kind of going to the extreme with AI. And we talked about how working one-on-one with humans, like working with someone like Lisa to find your clear vision, to find your personal or professional branding, you can't get that kind of relationship or connection with AI. So we had a really cool conversation with her in regards to stuff like that. But then we also talked about Crohn's, the wisdom of the older woman, getting through and going through perimenopause. And then what we are having so much fun with that we're finding having our guests on now that we are back to having guests on our podcast is learning what they're reading, watching, and listening to.
And let me tell you, content they're consuming.
Oh my God. She shared with us content that I wouldn't even think about. Well, one I did think about, but her book, she's reading about Mary Magdalene.
I'm curious. That one's going on my to read.
I know.
I would never have thought that had I not talked to her about that.
No, she is an exceptional conversation and a wonderful friend of ours here at the Sister Project. So we know that you, listener, are going to absolutely love this conversation. It's filled with wisdom. It's filled with authenticity and, just a real life look at just another woman that we are friends with and wants to share a bit of her life and insight with us. So you all just go ahead, fold some laundry, go on a walk, and enjoy today's conversation with our good friend and branding expert, Lisa Guillot. Is Mercury in retrograde? Lisa, I feel like you would know if it is or isn't.
If it was, it started yesterday with me with all my tech issues. And then today, now it's Michelle. Yeah.
And what were your tech issues exactly?
Oh my God. I had to get the new microphone. I have a new computer. I needed all the new things to plug everything into.
Yeah.
My display wasn't working. Camera wasn't working.
Yesterday.
Did you go to a shop to procure how did you manage the revival of your electric snafu?
Okay. Remember like with Sex and the City and Sarah Jessica Parker's computer died and she wrapped it in a pashmina. And she took it with her.
Did you do that?
No, but I felt like I should. But I took my computer with me and I was wearing the same sweater. I was like feeling all cozy with it. And you go into Best Buy and nobody's there to help you. It's like a vast wasteland of nobody.
What happened to Best Buy? It used to be so legit.
Yeah.
And now hello, is anyone here?
I was literally like waving people down and I found someone and I'm like, I need this, that, and this. And I'm willing to pay whatever you have. So that's what happened.
And they came through though. They were able to help you.
They came through, but then this morning my display didn't work. But Apple is the one. Like you gotta go pay the dollar.
Michelle, you're going to Apple today.
Apple
baby.
is like Obi-Wan. Like they are the one.
They're the one.
I'm scared of the time I'm going to spend at that fucking place. Anyway.
Michelle sent Lisa and I a photo of her computer and it literally looked like the Matrix, like Keanu Reeves. I feel like you should be, what's his name?
It was like the little numbers dropping. I was like, and we're done. where am
You're like,
I?
this is scary. Like Severance, when they're like, these are scary numbers.
Well, honestly, Lisa, after the non-cozy conversation I just had with my friend on the pickleball courts about AI, I'm like, it's already happening and I should just go hide in a bunker.
They're trying to boot you out early.
Yep.
They're like, this one's out.
Yeah. They're like,
exactly. Fired.
Lisa, what are your thoughts on AI? Do you use it professionally or personally?
Oh my gosh. Professionally and personally, yes. But just this morning, I actually sent an email out to my list about how AI is
when
not
you say list, you mean like your newsletter?
Yeah, my email list. How AI is not your personal brand, and how I think in the future we're going to so crave humanity and humans and cozy conversations and connection and in-person events and venues and concerts. And AI can't do that. And so I use it for like recipes, which I actually got that idea from Michelle. I went through my pantry. I was like, this is what I have. Yep. I don't have an onion. What can I do?
It's pretty creative.
Yeah. And yesterday I also created my own ChatGPT bot in my voice.
Okay, wait. Tell me what that means.
I'm hearing more of this.
A ChatGPT bot in your voice.
Yes. And I didn't. So I recently hired a social media manager. I've had one in the past and I wanted to onboard someone new. And so far she's fantastic. And she showed me how to do it. And I can't explain again how to do it. But basically I uploaded my manuscript to my book, some podcast scripts and episodes, all of my frameworks.
So they know who you are.
Yeah. And like my voice, et cetera, et cetera. And then it just rattled off all my frameworks, my tone of voice, my brand archetype, things I would say and wouldn't say. Like it called me a soul strategist. And I'm like, I'm not going to say that.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm a Crone strategist now, baby.
Strategist. So I got to name it like it's the Clear Vision Assistant. And
I love that.
I shared it with her. And so now she's going to be able to hopefully like use my voice to help me, take the podcast episodes into show notes, etc.
So you bring up a really good point about like what you just mentioned about like this crave of like human connection and whatnot, but also about talking about branding, using AI as kind of like a brand strategist. And would you recommend, like, where are the limits in using AI for you as a branding expert? For our listeners who are tuning in, Lisa, you helped us so much rebrand our business. Mm-hmm. We didn't have a clear vision at all. I will never forget you, it was like a therapy session when you're like, you can merge your two Instagram accounts together. The one that you have for your podcast and the one you have for your lifestyle, like for the sister project. And I was like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know if I could do it. I, for whatever reason, I was stuck and you helped unstuck us. And we are branded the way we are branded now because you helped guide us into that direction.
Lisa helped us find our clear vision.
Ding, ding,
truly.
ding.
Well, I want to be sure too that like an AI can't replace also the human connection in branding that we had with you. Like you said, we had this like human connection. We'd come over to your house a couple times. You would draw on the whiteboard. It's an experience. And I feel like that's kind of where we're in that kind of murky territory of like, if we just keep having, or if we move into a space where AI is doing these kind of jobs, well, jobs are going to become in jeopardy and there's no experience like working with a human. So I guess my question here or my thought here would be like, what are your thoughts on keeping up with a branding expert? So like say someone like you or what you do as a branding expert that AI cannot do, which I think is like that human connection aspect of it.
Right. I work with primarily women, older women who are going through a transition, whether that is like from mother to crone, which we can talk about.
Yes, please.
I can't wait to hear about that.
Yeah. That was during your matrix breakdown. But so we've got, or an empty nesters or perimenopause or whatever it is, but it's when you like are in your skin and you're like, this isn't right for me anymore, but I don't know what's next. So you guys, you had a vision. It just was like sprinkled all over. Like sometimes we have a vision and we're like, bleh, and then we spread it out all over the place. And we're like, why is this so hard? Why is this so messy? So taking that vision and getting it super clear, I help people create their vision, their visionary values, and then visibility. So
what do you mean by visibility?
How you show up. A lot of people want confidence, but confidence actually comes after you do the thing.
Okay.
So visibility could be showing up online and building thought leadership, speaking events, having a podcast, going to more networking events, getting a raise, raising your hand, all those things. Those are human things, right? So that visibility is the human side of personal branding. And sometimes the word personal branding rubs people the wrong way. They're like, well, that's self-promotion. I don't need that. But I would actually say the work I do is more about redefining who you are and discovering that first, and then being that person out there in the world. And you can do that with a business. You can do that with a human. You can do that to create a business or even in your own career. So I think the issue with AI in helping you, for example, find your vision or your values is it fawns all over you. It's like, Lisa, that was such a good idea.
Totally.
Amazing. Absolutely.
Cheerleader.
Let's do that. Yeah.
That is such a good point. You're right. They're your biggest cheerleader. I wonder why they're programmed that way. They don't do a lot of devil's advocate, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And the other thought that I was thinking about, you mentioned when you're working with people, you mentioned like empty nesters or people making life transitions. Are you talking about individuals who are looking to personalize their brand, or is it a professional branding situation, or both?
It could be both. I'm a big believer that, so you've got, like, imagine we have a little Venn diagram and we've got personal and then branding. So this is you. This is your personality. And oftentimes, particularly as women, we get this all screwy. We're like, well, I should have a career. I should be eating right. I should be doing this, right? I should have all organic food for my kids, whatever. And then how we actually show up in the world is connected to that shoulding all over ourselves. So personal branding or professional branding or thought leadership, even who you are in a relationship, like literally they're all intertwined. So you can kind of call it what you want, but it's the end result, the vision. So you guys, for example, had a big vision. You knew where you wanted to go. Like, this is going to be a full-time job. This is a business. This is how we're moving forward in the world. We know where we want to go, but we've got all these pieces and we kind of get caught up in, is this vision like too big?
Yeah.
And am I worthy of having this much goodness or whatever it is? And we just need to own it. Like, yes, you are. Yes, you can make this amount of money. Yes, you can give this amount of time. Yes, you can, right? So it's permission. And then when we get into AI, it's just, honestly, it's a one-way conversation of pleasing and yes, girl, go get it.
Yeah. Tons of that.
So right.
And the thing is, with sitting down with you, that's obviously a part of it, where when you find that you have that like belief in this idea with us, for us, or with any other clients you're working in, but you also do poke back. You're like, well, what if, or that might not work. Something that I found that was really empowering, and I know this sounds maybe a little silly, but our color scheme and branded colors prior to working with you were really muted. They were really soft, and they were beautiful,
sweet,
but
in a not an outward, more like we've arrived sort of a way. Right. I felt like they were not as bold.
No, they weren't. And when we decided to inject black, the color black, into our branding, that was huge for us. We wear black all the time. I'm very drawn to black. Michelle's wearing black right now. I just felt like that also helped, kind of what you were saying about the personal brand meeting like the professional brand, that bringing in of a color that really that really is part of my life in general, and kind of shifting it into my business helped it feel more cohesive. Michelle, do you feel the same way?
100%. Yeah, I do. I mean, in the before times, it just felt sort of safe and quiet and muted, and it was lovely. But I think what we have now matches, like, I'm looking at Lisa, she is her brand. Like, she looks like her brand all the time. Like, I know who in her brand is. And I felt like almost like we were not aligned with who we were before. Yes. And Lisa helped us get to the point where now it all makes sense.
Totally.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I went and saw you guys at Zany's. I think it was last week. There was nothing safe or quiet or demure like about that, right? There's nothing about you guys that is that way.
No.
So true.
And that I think is what was also another reason why we had to see you. You were like kind of like I felt like an oracle for our branding, because we needed someone to guide us, because we knew that we were growing out of where we were before we met with you.
I also think that one of the cool things about you, Lisa, that you do an amazing job with, and for people that are like visual learners and seers, like coming to literally your table it's a cozy conversation, but it's also like a visual experience. And that I think kind of cracked open a whole new world for us that we hadn't really seen before. Like, we knew all the things that we were just talking about, the different arms and revenue streams and things that we were doing, like they were in our head and they were like digitally out in the world. But to sit down with you and have them put on big giant pieces of paper in front of us and sort of like put the pieces together and see how and what worked best, that for me was mind blowing. I was like, I understand me now. Thank you.
It's like, I feel like an AI robot can't do that.
No, yeah, they can't, like, currently they can't visually brainstorm and play back and forth and feel your emotions and tell when, like, as a good coach, I can tell when somebody's lying, right? And they're lying to themselves also because they don't want to say the thing. So you just have to like suss that out. And currently, I don't think AI can see you in that way.
You mentioned something a moment ago about self-promotion, and you said it almost sounded like people were kind of like
poo-pooing it,
iffy or poo-pooing. And I am such a strong believer, if you don't promote yourself, who or no one is going to do it for you. Why do you think it's an ego thing? Do you think people will think, oh, I'm talking about myself too much? What is the problem with self-promotion that some people might have with it?
I think this sometimes goes back to masculine and feminine energy, where when, I'm going to totally generalize, but like when men get down to business, they get down to business. And they're like, you can call Alan and Alan's going to help you out. And he's going to fix you up. And then you call Alan and it's straight business. And
I love that you chose the name Alan.
Yeah, I don't know. And versus like, and I know this is true for a lot of the women that I work with. It's, oh, no, it's a team effort. It wasn't so much me. Like, there's more deflection and collaboration, which is fantastic. Collaboration, but also deflection and wanting to share. And so it starts to honestly lessen the impact of the value you brought. And a lot of women, when they first come to start to work with me, they're like, oh, but I don't really know what to say about myself. I mean, I did, sell that business 2 years ago, but it just starts to kind of lower the impact of who they are. And it's straight facts. Like, if it's a fact, it's not self-promotion, right? So I think you're right, Lauren. You have to say it and you have to own it. And you have to that's part of being visible. Is your work, it might speak for you, quote unquote, but you're going to speak louder for yourself and for the work and the team and whatever it is. So there's like, that's the voice, right? That's having to share your voice and feel comfortable with it. And people feel wonky around it. There's super wonky things around it. Maybe your mom said something to you when you were little. Don't brag. No, that stay humble. We've got all the things wired in there. So you can just kind of like pick your flavor of, well, why I shouldn't speak up is because.
Right. Wow, fascinating. I love how you broke it down a little bit, like feminine and masculine energy. And that's another thing I love about you. You bring like more to the table than just like the basics. You go out and you search for answers elsewhere. Michelle, when you were having your matrix breakdown, we were chatting about Lisa's new coach that she's seeing. Lisa, will you share with us a little bit more about what you're seeking? And then it will lead in a bit more into like the Crone aspect of the conversation.
Yeah. So every year I hire or work with a different style or type of coach. So I am both a personal brand strategist, came up through graphic design, and then became a certified transformational leadership coach. And big believer that if you're a coach, you need to have a coach, right? You got to do the work. So currently the coach I work with is ICF certified like I am, which means International Coaching Federation. And the style of coaching she does is just ask questions. And what I love about it is that I got to frame what I wanted to take away from our 6 sessions together. And that was, I wanted to weave in more of my spiritual side into my work and say that, here I go to self-promotion, right? Like say the things out loud that I'm a little afraid to say, because if I go too deep into the witch and Wiccan woo-woo stuff, right? Some people won't be down for it.
Is that what you're too scared to share? It's like your witchy ways about you, and like
people that aren't into it will look away because that doesn't align with them.
Or they'll be like, burn her at the stake.
Burn me at the stake.
And I'm coming with you. We'll do it together.
Yeah,
like I think together.
A whole lot of people would be burned together.
You think people are creeped out by that? Like if you were to say and talk about that more often?
Well, I hold some stories around it.
Okay.
Like I went into an advertising agency and like hosted a tarot card party for a group of clients. It was super fun. And then someone else heard about it and was like, I want to bring you into my company and do the same thing. I was like, cool, let's do it. And then they called back and they're like, HR says that we can't have tarot in the office. And I'm like,
okay, I'm dying to know why. Like, why?
Well, it's
beliefs. I mean,
it's witchy. It's woo-woo. It's weird. It's the devil. I mean, those are the stories that I hold around it.
Of course. Kudos to the first company that had you there to do that, because it is fun. And I feel like with tarot cards, I find that there's a lot of storytelling and intuition revolving around. And are you certified tarot reader?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, you got a lot of certifications going on there.
Lisa walks the walk. She does it all.
Thank you.
So are you trying to break down some of these barriers with this new coach of yours?
Yes. Okay. Yes. So how can I bring that to the forefront really clearly and still like have all the professionalism and strength and strategy that I do have? So we were working at first with this idea of going through a new phase. And I think this is really relevant for all of your listeners, for example, where we are probably older women who have moved through that maiden stage. We have maybe done our mothering or are still in that phase of life. And now we're like dead stuck in the perimenopause funk and moving into the menopause funk. And I know for me, I have been like fighting it like nobody's business. I am like, oh my God, my skin, I'm crawling out of it. And the weight gain and the energy and what supplements do I take? Like kind of in a fighting mode instead. And this has been tied back to at least 2 years ago. And also weaving in high functioning depression on top of that, right? So now we just got this tight layer of all these problems. And she said, well, as a witchy person, what do you think about the term crone and being a crone woman? Which after maiden comes mother and then Crone, and Crone is the wise elderly woman. It's the woman who like feels free in her body, who doesn't give an F, who can just own and be that woman in the community, you know. And in the past, this is typically where they put that woman into a mental institution, right? Or she becomes invisible. But what if instead of, for me, for example, fighting this change, fighting the transition, what if I actually look forward to it and be like, I am going to be that wise old woman. I am going to own my voice and what I have to share. And who cares who comes and follows along, because my people will. And for me, it was just like, oh yeah. Like it just gave me a choice.
Yeah.
Instead of like, how much estrogen do I need to feel like I used to feel? Right. Yeah. I can now be like, okay, oh, well, I'm going to try this estrogen. I'm going to try this gel, and I'm going to
be a crone,
and go walk out the earth with my 2 feet on the ground, you know? Yeah. Whatever it is.
I'm here for it. Like it's all like, it's such a mindset thing, right? It's like with anything, how we, I mean, I'm kind of relating to this whole Crone thing. Like I'm going through it too. I mean, I've got some, you know, Perry, you know, like, I mean, yesterday I cried through an entire podcast. That was an interesting, I mean, granted, we were talking about our dead mom, you know, but like, I also am like, you know what? Fuck this. Like, I'm not dyeing my hair for anybody anymore. I'm not like, this is my face. Like, I'm going through Perry, but I'm going to go and do my damnedest to try to put muscle on because I'm like leaning into it. And I feel like the leaning in is helping navigate this, the Crony way. I'm going Crone.
The Crony.
I'm going Crone.
I think
full on Crone.
Full on Crone. I was telling Lisa, I'm reading this book called The Once and Future Sex. It's a study of women in society during the medieval times. And it's crazy that Lisa brought up the maiden today, because I just read the chapter on the maiden in this book. Maidens were deemed like the most beautiful versions of women
during the medieval period of time.
And I'm sure, like, you know, like who knows how it has transitioned over time. I'm just on this moment in history. It's fascinating because, and these were women who were of teenage age, and they were also ripe and virgins. And then ready, Michelle, as you would say, ripe for the picking. Is that what you said about the picking? And they were eligible to be wives. And then but the cool thing I was telling Lisa was that like your beauty doesn't end the minute like you're plucked and picked and, you know, and have, you know, your babies and have a husband. You move into this different territory of beauty deemed by the society at the time, where you are a married woman, but you are thought of as a little bit more, like they use the word dangerous, because if someone is attracted to you, you are now taken. And so it's kind of like a dangerous thing to be attracted to a married woman, or vice versa. If a woman is finding attraction towards someone else outside of her marriage. They also talked about the women's body. And I just bring this up because I know a lot of us, like I joke that I have a fupa, and especially at this, like a few months ago, it was like a fupa button was pushed on, and I'm like, no matter what I do.
What does that mean?
Oh, well, it means Lisa, fat upper pussy area.
Wait, say it again.
It's an acronym, FUPA, fat upper pussy area.
Okay. Yeah, got it. I've had 2 C-sections, so I have one of those too.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let's
the doctors call it a panis. I think that's the medical term.
I'm more into fupa.
That's the medical term.
I have to tell you really something really quick. I need to interject because when my parents, when we lived in LaGrange, I was like elder, like getting out of college and stuff. We had a neighbor who was my mom's best friend, and I'm like, I have these memories of this woman. All of a sudden, she was hilarious. She is hilarious. She's still alive. She's not dead. She would lift up her shirt and she would squeeze her stomach together and she'd go, "This is a fucking bagel." She's like, "Where did this bagel come from?" And she would make it a bagel, and I'd be like, "You're nuts, and you're showing me this. This is all hilarious." And now I'm like, I've got a fucking bagel. Dude.
Right.
Bagel City. Anyway,
I've got good news to tell you.
On track, Lauren.
Back in the medieval times,
was that
a soft
revered
abdomen area around soft belly was attractive back then. Which
Oh,
is beautiful.
Thank God. Well, I mean, you think about all the paintings too, like the pictures that you see, like the Renaissance and the women, like they weren't fucking waif anorexic models. They were like full figured women.
So back in the day, in this book I'm reading, we're talking about the art now. I'm reading about the art, and a lot of art back then that was commissioned was religious art. And a lot of the women that were depicted in religious art, Eve. And Eve is often represented as having like a soft little belly, which is great. And there's a lot we can talk about how, having a little bit of a belly and is great. Why not? Right. But I think what we want to do is stay on track because we were talking about maidens and from the maiden voyage. So we were going, and then what happens is you get married, right? And then you become like then these older, wise women, these crones, these women who have been on earth for so long, who have so much wisdom to share. And Lisa, I think what you are sharing with what your coach has shared with you is revolutionary, because I think what we hear a lot is women talk about when they reach a certain age, you use the word invisible. Women feel invisible. They don't feel like, they'll walk behind someone and the door will slam. Someone won't even notice that they're behind them and hold the door open for them. But they would imagine that if it was a 20-something-year-old woman, the door would be held for her and then the next door. And so I think what you're saying is so imperative for women of, the mid-age and older, and even for the younger women, because it is jarring when you get to a certain age and you're like, wait, am I not deemed as beautiful as I once thought? To always your own self-worth, how you look at yourself and how you bring yourself into the planet and into society, that makes a huge difference. But also that we get to make this decision that we still have so much value and so much worth to offer society and friendships and relationships. And it doesn't end because we're going through another fucked up hormonal transition. But what I also hear is that people say that after perimenopause, that once they settle into menopause, it's like freedom.
I know. That's what
you heard the same thing?
Yeah.
I feel like we're all on this
it's
journey.
It's like the best time of their life ever.
Can't
like
wait.
That's what we're looking forward to.
Yes, that it literally like stops one day and they're like, their life has been changed for the better, which is really good to hear.
Yeah, I know, because it's like the breakdown before the breakthrough. And
right.
I've been in the breakdown for quite a while. So like knowing there is a place of rest where I don't need to have the energy I had in my 30s and 40s. Totally. I can just go to bed at 9 p.m. and be cool with it.
Right.
I can just, I can choose and be cool with it and own that again, versus like thinking I should be doing this, being this way, et cetera, et cetera. So it's total mindset shift. And thank God.
It's beautiful though, because you're really talking about acceptance, accepting a change. And instead of combating it and being like, fuck this and living in the past, leaning into the now and looking at forward. The future a little bit more hopeful instead of like, oh, this is going to fucking suck.
Yeah.
I mean, being a crone, which I think is so cool. Looking back, and if you look at history again, like you mentioned, like the old women kind of just taken, like go be old and, aged somewhere else, but bringing that vibe into society. And there are women out there that are doing this. Like, do you listen to the Wiser Than Me podcast?
Yeah,
do you, Lisa?
I have. Or even like, I was listening to on Instagram yesterday, I saw Michelle Obama, in her new podcast.
Yes.
And she was talking about how she chose not to go to the inauguration.
Wait, and I didn't hear that. Can we just touch on that? What was her reason? What did she say?
Well, basically it was her choice. She's like, I have come to I'm going to totally mess up what she said because she's brilliant and I'm just pretending to be.
Regurgitate it.
So she, in essence, said, I make choices for what I want to do now. And if I make a choice and I land in it, I'm not going to go do something I don't want to do, no matter what people have to say. And then she said, and then what happened was everybody thought it was so out of left field that I would not go to the inauguration, that they thought the only reason I would not go to the inauguration is because I'm getting a divorce from Barack.
That's why.
Now,
yes, that's the only reason you could possibly not want to go to that inauguration.
She's not going to be married to him anymore.
That was a reflection of, well, I am a woman. I am a wife. This is what I should do as being a former first lady because this is the right thing to do.
It's the right thing.
On and on and on. And she was like, nope. And then she even told her staff, she's like, don't even like find me a just in case dress. Like,
because she always has a just in case dress.
We are not preparing for this at all. This is what's happening. So she, in essence, made a choice. Period. End of story.
For what was best for her.
And also sort of like I don't give a fuck, you know?
Yes, 100% that.
And that's also the beautiful part of like getting through the life cycles and getting older. Like there is a real beauty to the I don't give a fuck aspect of living. And that is one of my favorite parts of aging, honestly.
Yeah. And being willing to, she got so much vitriol and horror, you know, and she always does.
Always.
But she can hold it. And she's probably like extraordinarily supported by her people and it's her personality. So anyways, yes, that's an older woman. That's a crone that I'm like,
I loved that. I saw it yesterday too. And I knew when the rumors were going around that, oh, her marriage is in trouble. I knew it was complete and utter bullshit because, well, first of all, I have a lot of faith in that relationship.
Please.
All of my eggs are in that Obama basket. Like, please don't ever. So I don't believe any of these rumors. And it's just like when you look at the royal family too, like when Kate Middleton was going through cancer, people were like, oh my God, her husband's cheating on her. And that begs the question, why can't women just take good care of themselves and do what's best for them and make decisions that best suit their mental health, physical health, emotional health, and not have people come and attack them or their relationships? I love how it's always like, they must be breaking up with their man. It's like, or they fucking hate the current president. Can that be it?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like, that's why she didn't go. Because, I guess that she would have to sit right next to Donald Trump in regards to, because that's how they have the seating arrangement. And I guess they're really strict on it. And she's like, I'm not going to sit next to this dude, and I don't blame her.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. It was a beautiful choice.
I think it's cool.
It's super cool. And seeing, and now we have women that we can see in the future, like, her, for example, I don't know, Hillary Clinton, Elizabeth Gilbert, I'm just rattling some off that Mel Robbins, that we can look and be like, oh, see how they're doing it? So I can too.
I love thinking about people who I'm like, oh, they're bad at, like, I love Dolly Parton. Like, I look at her and I'm like, she's just doing her thing, however she wants to look, make a impact on society in her ways. Like, I'm really down with her. And
she does it, and she's just managed to do it just perfectly her entire life. Like,
however way she wants to.
Whatever it is, it has worked for her. She's an amazing example of that, for sure.
I also liked listening to Dame Julie Andrews on Wiser Than Me. She's, Michelle, I figured you would. Did you listen to that one?
Yes.
No, oh, you should. She's great, Lisa. She loves cursing. They think that she's all prim and proper because she's English, but she loves the C word.
Total.
Whoa, goes for it with the C word.
I love it. Yeah, I think that this, the discussion in adapting to change for women is just yet another part of our life that they don't prepare us for. So we get to learn from these other women in our lives, as you mentioned, that who you look up to, Lisa.
Yeah. And, it's kind of sad to think that, our mother's generation, I'm not sure who they looked up to or had access to.
Well, it felt like it was all about the external, like what everything was looking like on the outside. There was like zero focus on internal knowledge, understanding, education. I feel the same, like, especially going through this now, looking back and like remembering our mom navigating this. I was like, God damn, you guys had no clue. You had no freaking clue.
Yeah. And that generation really focused on, the homestead and being a good wife and being a good mom. And all those things can be important, but also being the best version of yourself and taking care of yourself and doing your things that you want to do.
It's exactly. They didn't.
Go ahead.
Like exactly what we talk about here, prioritizing yourself. Like it's okay to be selfish. It's okay to put yourself first. It's okay to say no to something else so you could yourself. No, that was not a trending lifestyle hack back when we were growing up. I don't think.
No.
Right. I mean, it's that trad wife. I don't know how to say it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's, yes, you can make choices for your family. Absolutely. Yes, you can make choices that are reflective of your partner's career. No problem. But having the inner knowing that you have a choice in the first place is the big shift.
Totally.
Yeah. Lisa, how do you prioritize yourself? Being a working woman, entrepreneur, coach, mom, wife, witch.
Yeah, stepmom.
What do you do? Witch.
It's been a process. Like, I remember one of the first stories I wrote about in the book, Find Your Clear Vision, was about how the very first time I ever put anything for myself in my calendar when I was a mom of 2 young toddlers was 30-minute meditation at the Buddhist Center in Oak Park on a Friday from 11 to 11:30. And it was such a big deal that I even would do that during the working day. What?
Really? Wait, why? Because you felt anxious about taking time out of doing things for probably others in your home to do 100%. Something for you? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and how many years ago was that?
I would say my daughter was probably 2 tops. And so she is now 11.
Okay. And how did that experience at the Buddhist temple for meditation impact you?
Yeah. So 9 years ago, it was a time to be quiet, like the monk said a few words, shared a little bit. Then we all just went into silence for about 15, 20 minutes. And then it was done. And so 9 years ago with a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, that was the only silence in my whole life. Right. And so that was like the first time I granted myself permission to slow down. So now, right? What is this? So now 9 years later, I had to become a certified transformational mindset coach. I had to become a certified tarot card reader. I
love it.
Put all these things in place because I'm a Capricorn and Capricorn rising. So yeah, double whammy. But so for example, every morning I wake up at 6:30 and I have a insight timer meditation. I journal. I have a perfectly perfected smoothie I've been drinking every single year for like decades.
Yum. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
What's in it?
Yeah. I had ChatGPT help me modify it, actually.
Okay. Oh. Tell us. What is in it?
So I basically drink my greens, right? So it's huge. It's spinach, protein powder.
Can I ask
maybe
what
some lemon
protein
or lime
powder you use? What are we using over here?
Orgain.
Okay.
Orgain. Okay.
Is it flavored? Yeah. Is it chocolate? Is it flavorless?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, either chocolate or vanilla.
Okay.
And I hate to cook, so this is like the perfect breakfast. You put it all in, and then I recently added. So I used to use Metamucil, but now I use flaxseed because that's more natural and whole. And then I also put in a healthy splash of apple cider vinegar.
Oh.
A little bit of salt to help like decrease that taste. Turmeric, which I can't even taste in
powder or in the raw
root powder.
Okay.
And what else? And then like some flavor if I want, like some blueberries or half a banana. But try to minimize the sugar.
Yep.
And so that's like the only thing. So I'm getting like 21 grams of protein right there in the morning.
Amazing.
And that will basically take me to lunch. And I've been doing that for like a decade. And then I really don't eat a lot during the day. It's like apple and scoop of peanut butter, Nutella. Although ChatGPT tried to convince me not to do the Nutella.
Okay,
I love that he was
palm
trying
oil. That's good.
Yeah, I know.
All right,
got some health benefits there.
You go.
Yeah. So the tarot, reading of the tarot, the meditation, the journaling, having my own coach. I have a therapist. We have a couples therapist for me and my honey bun. And what else? Like reading. As a coach, I need to focus so intently when I'm doing straight up coaching versus consulting. You have to so focus on the human in front of you and actively listen and go so deep that it's an energetic pull. Like I need to so be in the vibe for that.
Like
that I need to do. Yeah, I need to do a lot of energetic work. And so I do, chakra cleansings during the day. It mostly just like it's a music moment for me, like 2 or 3 minutes listening to a specific song or a specific affirmational song. So I've got all these little pieces that I will pile into my resources to help generate energy throughout the day. But honestly, like come 8:39, I'm out. I'm done.
But it sounds like you have found balance, tools, techniques that from what you were talking about prior to having like your morning routine and your chakra cleansing, you weren't doing that as a new mom with toddlers.
Not at all. I was like so wrapped up into being the perfect mom, the perfect business owner, stepwife. I'm not stepwife.
That's a lot of pressure.
Stepmom. It was so, I broke out in shingles. Yeah, I was a stepwife.
I'm like, wait, what?
I broke out in shingles multiple times.
Stress.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I wear glasses now is I like scarred my cornea with the dang thing.
Really?
Shit. I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah. So,
thank you for sharing these tools and techniques that you use for your own self-care. I think it's important. People don't, I was chatting with a mom the other day and other family and parents that don't ever like leave their kids to go somewhere. And I get it, like childcare or financial, even doing the little things, but like they want to take a vacation, but they don't want to leave their kids because they're worried about like, oh, will it be okay if we leave them? Will they be okay? And sometimes it's just a matter of just doing it. Doing what you want to do, knowing and having faith that everyone will be okay. And there is no perfect way to be a parent or a mom. And you're probably a more perfect mom now because you actually take better care of yourself.
100%. And they can see that. And
that's what they'll model.
Yep. And that's what they'll model.
They'll remember that like my mom actually took care of herself. Michelle and I talk about it all the time. I don't have any recollection of my mom tending to her self-care, her mental health, anything like that. But we saw the fallout from it. And I'm not just talking about dementia. I'm just talking like other behaviors that were like, oh, this is probably someone who is at her wit's end, who has not really taken time to have a quiet 15 minutes or has done some physical activity to release some energy or anything like that. Before we move into the latter segment of our conversation, I wanted to revisit your coaching, like kind of how you worked with Michelle and I, but I wanted to ask you kind of an umbrella question. If you had tips for anyone struggling with their personal or professional brand or how they see themselves or struggling to find their clear vision, 1, 2, or 3 tips, do you have anything to share with our listeners there?
Yeah, I think when there's 3 parts to it, really. There's the vision and finding your vision for your future self. How do you want to be? What conversations do you want to be a part of? Where do you want to be spending your time? And you can think of that within a career or within your own business, whatever it is. Like, who do you want to be spending the most time with? What do you want to be talking about? And that's going to be an amazing moment because you'll be like, yes, that's going to light me up. I had a coach once ask me, what types of books do you love reading? And at the time it was business books, like learning how to build a business. And I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. Right. And now I love reading about witchy spiritual stuff.
Yep.
Oh, that makes sense. So finding that part is one piece. Then
so kind of like what interests you, like you said, what lights you up.
Yeah. And you need to know so clearly that this is for me and what I want to create. Then we have to go create that and actually make it happen. And that is the getting out into the world, being visible, saying the thing out loud, getting people to advocate for you, support you, help you. It's you speaking up and going on the stage, writing the book, starting the podcast, whatever it is. So that's the branding part. Don't start there. Don't say, I want to build a podcast. And then my first question would be like, well, about what? To who? What for? What do you want to create? So actually start with the who you are being and what do you want to do? And then all the rest is strategy and tactics.
And if people want to learn more about working with you, but also just about your work and how you help people find their clear vision, if you look right, but can you move your head a little bit so we can see the cover? There it is. Lisa has an amazing book, Find Your Clear Vision. Was that 2 years ago that it came out, or 3? Was it 2? Yeah, it was right after I had Luna. Yeah, 2 years when your book released. And then, do you have any future plans to write another book?
100%. Fingers crossed. It's going to be released in late summer.
This late summer.
Amazing.
Is it witchy?
Yeah. It focuses just on the vision, just the identity work and energetics.
Which is the first step you were talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Just energy work, just the inner identity and energetics, nothing about branding.
Okay. Keep us posted on that. We will definitely share with our WIFs and listeners. Now, as we move into the latter part of our podcast, Michelle and I, when we're having our own conversation, we love sharing with our WIFs what we're reading, watching, and listening to. Do you have anything you'd like to share, whether you're reading, watching, listening to, on topic of what you do? But it could be anything. It doesn't have to be with branding or coaching. It could be anything that you think that maybe our listeners might want to tune into.
Okay. So yes, of course. So I love, love, love music. And I always kind of poo-pooed affirmations because I'm like,
I love a good affirmation.
Self-talk. Well, yeah.
Is there music affirmations?
Yes.
You mentioned it a little bit ago and I meant to touch on that. What is it? This sounds amazing.
So on Spotify is where I go. And Kinder Records.
Kinder Records.
They have, a whole discography of affirmations. And it's just like, I think she's Australian. I don't know. But she says the affirmation and then gives you enough time to say it in your mind. And then she moves to the next one. And she has a whole record on parenting, on positive self-image, on divine feminine energy, on codependence.
This is super cool.
Yeah, I just started following.
Same.
Yeah, I'll send you some of my favorites. So I've marked about 13 songs all throughout those records. They're not records, whatever, files. And I'll send them to you.
Cool. That's a great rack.
Every morning. Yeah. And it literally affirmations work. Who knew? But they do.
I used affirmations
and I can
for
go back
pregnancy.
to them.
Yeah. So do you go back so you'll have this every morning, you'll listen and you'll download these messages and this will kind of be part of the start of your day.
Yes. Or I'll kick into them if I get triggered by something. I can go back and remember one of the affirmations.
Okay.
And then I'm like, you just settle a little bit. Okay, so that's a big one. Everyone should go follow them, find your favorite affirmation, and just listen to it when you're triggered.
I love Lisa. I'm so glad when Lauren and I were talking about crafting this and what it was going to look like with guests and stuff, when we were kind of going back and forth with how we were going to close this out. I'm so glad that our guests are sharing what they're reading, watching, and listening or whatever, because there's just a whole world of things that
I don't know if I ever would have fallen upon affirmation songs. I'm super
down for it.
All right. Okay. And then the other one, I'm reading a book by Megan Watterson, and I found her because she has the Oracle deck, the Divine Feminine.
So that's an Oracle guidebook. So the Divine Feminine.
And so this is her, she's got a whole Oracle deck that just represents different goddesses, saints, etc. So there's Mary Magdalene.
Mm-hmm.
The whole reason we knew that Jesus went up to heaven is because this lady right here,
Did she stand by the tomb? Isn't that right? Is that correct?
Was she the one that washed his face and the miracle of his face appeared on the
shroud?
What was the shroud?
That's the Shroud of Turin. I don't know.
I know. I mix up my stories too. And I was raised Irish Roman Catholic, but no longer.
Same.
She was... Same. You're like,
same. Ditto.
We just blend all the
I just remember
together.
being like, I don't know about that Noah's Ark story. Something seems
that was the one that got you.
Fishy.
That was the one that got you. That really threw me. Forget about the burning bush and the walking on water. There's those two of every animal. I was like, that ark's not big enough for all that.
It was a zoo on water. Oh my God.
How would this work? Yeah. Well, I told my son and daughter, like, we love medieval, anything pagan or Viking related, or Zeus and Greek gods and goddesses. And I said, well, there is a fantastic book that, like, it is just the greatest myth of all time, and everyone loves this. And they're like, well, what is it? And I said, it's the Bible. People love that one, right? And it is so full of all of these stories of God, well, mostly single God and Jesus and his apostles, whatever. So Mary was, in essence, Jesus's girlfriend. And she was also with them and walked around with all the apostles.
So
Peter,
cool.
Paul. I'm
she
not
got
sure
a bad rap though.
What's she holding in that picture on that card?
Oh, it's a red egg.
Okay.
For like fertility or something? What's the egg for?
Well, the story is that she went to, I don't even know where, somewhere, France. She went somewhere and they said, now, really, Jesus told you that he went to heaven and that we can all go to heaven now? Really? Like, you're a woman. How can you prove this is true? And she said, hand me an egg, and if it's true, it'll turn red. And then it turned red.
Get out. Super cool. So you're reading the book by the woman who created this death.
Yes. So the book is Mary Magdalene Revealed.
Okay. Oh, do you have the cover with you?
No, I have the Post-it note, and I have my Kindle.
So, got it. So she wrote the guidebook and the tarot, but the book that you're reading is Mary Magdalene Revealed.
Correct.
And so you're learning all about her.
Yeah. So it turns out Mary Magdalene also wrote a gospel.
And is it in the Bible?
No,
because her name was Mary and she had a vagina.
It's so true. It's so true.
So it's so many weird, crazy stories. So she wrote this gospel, and some church, I don't even know, 100 BC, 400 BC, they're like, this, we should hide copies of these because the church is burning them all. And so there was 2 copies hidden, one in Egypt and one in France.
Get out of here.
Yeah. And then somehow someone found it. I don't even know when.
Oh my God.
They found both the copies, and in it, she, writes her gospel. And then on page 7 in both copies, there are 4 pages missing.
What? And we don't know what they say.
Now,
I wonder.
Supposedly, it's something about how God can be within us, so we are also divine.
But they don't want us to think that we're divine.
No, humans because we have to go through a priest.
Yeah.
We have to go through a bishop, a pope, and then God. But hers was we are both fully human and fully divine.
Beautiful.
I know. And so I'm just like, what?
That's what they think that these 4 pages share.
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
Fascinating.
So interesting.
So crazy,
this is
right?
like the Da Vinci Code, but
literally.
Yes.
It really is.
The Indiana Jones of hunting for
Why didn't we know this? We all celebrate Easter, but who actually, how do we celebrate Easter and why? Well, it's because Mary was at the tomb and Jesus came out and told her, you can rise again, right?
She played such a huge role. And that's the thing that I love having these conversations and you bringing up Mary Magdalene, because throughout history, women have just been silenced, like what you just said, like what you were saying earlier about ancestors and whatnot, or pushed aside because, we are females. And I'm really into this whole kind of, this new wave of exposing the silencing, but also bringing to light all these incredible women from the past that have, you know what? If you were a complete moron, you would think that women played no role in anything because all you hear about are the famous dudes. Male explorers, the writers, the gospel writers.
Warriors.
You got to dig deep and look around and find books like what you're reading to actually really know that women played a huge part in history. But we just we aren't taught about it.
Yeah.
We aren't taught about it. Like, I don't ever remember her being mentioned at all, ever, except that she was a prostitute.
A prostitute.
And I'm like, was she though?
But was she? Or is it because she and Jesus were together? Like, what's
she and
the
Jesus were
mystery
together?
Here?
Yeah.
The only woman I really remember like hearing about besides Virgin Mary and Mary Magdalene, Joan of Arc. But I'm also thinking, like, is it because wasn't she killed at some point?
Well, and she was a
dressed
up like a man.
The man she dressed up like a man. Here we go. Okay, these are 2 great recommendations so far. Any television that you're watching that you want to share, or movies, anything, and if not, no worries.
Yeah, I am okay. Love on the Spectrum.
Oh, Michelle's obsessed.
Oh, love it.
Can we talk about Connor and Georgie for a second?
I have not finished this latest season yet. So, well, I mean, all of it. You're just like, oh my God.
I have to get into it. I will.
Honestly, the most feel good, wonderful shit you can turn on the boob tube today.
Beautiful.
I love it.
Are you guys are you both watching? Is this season 3?
Oh, I binged it in a day.
But this is but everything I'm seeing is season 3. Okay.
And what's happened is they really are starting to find love. There's a couple of folks that are like in long relationships, but the one relationship that I am so obsessed with is it's Connor and Georgie. And Connor,
are these 2 men?
No, Georgie is
a woman. Okay,
she is, but they also have like there are folks that are like they're lesbian partners, whatever. They're covering everything.
Great,
it's amazing. It's so good. But Georgie and Connor, the way Connor he like quotes medieval text, like when he met her,
very medieval conversation.
You guys, when he met, I have to talk about this for 1 second because it literally my heart exploded, and I don't mean to spoil this, but I'm going to.
That's okay.
He meets this girl and she is amazing. He gets up from the table. He's like, excuse me for a second. The cameras follow him. He leaves. Okay. He walks downstairs. He is saying, where have you been all my life?
He's saying it out loud to himself.
He is saying things in Italian. This kid's brilliant. It is wonderful. I'm going to watch it again. again.
Wow.
It's wonderful. It's so heartfelt, so it is yummy to watch. Have you guys also listened to the telepathy tapes? I can't say it.
No.
Telepathy tapes.
No. What is this?
Oh my God. Why am I having trouble saying this word?
Telepathy.
I wouldn't know. You guys don't ask me. Is this a show or a podcast?
Podcast.
Okay. I'm looking it up.
Oh my God. It's about non-speaking autistic people.
Oh, yes. I just saw it the other day.
How is this where they're suggesting that they can read minds or something? Yes. Okay, because that's what telepathy. Now I've got it. Okay, go
on. I know. Telepathy tapes.
This one, I just looked it up the other day. Okay, I'm following.
Binged it because we drove to Missouri and drove back, binged it the whole way. It's about non-speaking autistic people and how they communicate. I mean, literally angels on earth.
Wow.
That's what I have to say. They are angels on earth.
Almost tuned into this the other day and then something caught my eye. 100% I'm going to listen to this.
Same.
Thank you for this.
So crazy. It is so crazy. And she starts very scientifically and in a very small way. The first episode is about a daughter and her mom. And the mom says, I think my daughter's reading my mind. And they're like, no, that can't happen. She's autistic. She's blah, blah. Right. And they're like, okay, let's test it out. And they take the mom and daughter on different floors of a house. And they give the mom an Uno card, and she looks at it, and it's like a green 2. And the daughter, 2, floors down, she's non-speaking, but she can use an iPad or whatever.
Yeah.
Green 2.
Of course.
Blue 4.
Stop.
Red 6. The entire deck. She can see it through her mom's eyes.
Oh my God, I cannot wait to
that's episode 1. Yeah.
Okay.
Super crazy.
Good rap. Yeah, I totally came across this the other day because it was on on the top podcast list. Okay, thank you. Because I was like, is it going to be gimmicky? No, it's good. You know what I just want to say with all of the conversations around autism that we are hearing from a political standpoint, I love that the recommendation for the podcast and the show, because it really gives us an idea of what humans with autism are like. Because I don't know if I know anyone with severe or even mild autism, so I really don't have anything to kind of, be like, well, what are they like? And it's just really, we're lucky to have these different mediums to learn more about them.
Yes, 100%.
Truly, because I'm not loving what I'm hearing at all.
No. And believe them, even if they can't speak or present in a way that is quote, socially acceptable.
Right.
We just need to believe them and believe in them and believe women and all the things.
All the things,
Lisa,
girl.
I love you. I love our conversations
Always.
Every time we're together.
Every time.
To wrap it up, we love finishing off with, again, Michelle and I share ours, but we're going to not share ours today. We would love for you to share your simple joy from this past week or this morning, whenever that you've experienced that really lit you up.
I went to a yoga class, which I always do, 3 times a week or so. But whenever they play Mumford and Sons,
love,
simple joy. Love, love, love Mumford and Sons.
If I was on a song or any song in general.
Any song, particularly ones with the banjo in it.
Yeah.
I think because my dad played banjo, so I always had it growing up. But
pretty cool.
Ooh, and then we got a new car this weekend, a new used car, but it's my car. I'm so excited about it. And the first time I got in it to go drive to Mariano's, what comes on?
Mumford and
Sons.
The Universe Delivered. Amazing. I like Mumford and Sons. I like that Lion song, the song with the, I don't know what it's called, but they're great. I do love them. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your wisdom, your Crone wisdom, just the Lisa wisdom, and for a beautiful conversation. Can you tell our WIFs where they can find you online, on social media, and where they can find your book, please?
Sure. Amazon for Find Your Clear Vision. I am on Instagram at BeBrightLisa, and my website is bebrightlisa.com.
Beautiful. As always, it is a pleasure spending even just a moment of time, an hour of time with you today. And I know our listeners are going to love this conversation as well. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Lisa, for joining us. And as always,
stay cozy, Lisa, and stay cozy, listener.
Thank you for joining us for today's cozy conversation. For more of The Sister Project, check us out on Instagram at The Sister Proj and our website, www.thesisterprojectblog.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and maybe even drop us a review. Until next time, stay cozy.